Hello everyone and welcome back. This is the first video of the tutorial for the Fab-Boo-lous trifold album. We're going to start by taking 3 pieces of 7.5 by 7.5 medium weight cardstock, and you're going to cut 2 additional pieces, 1 by 1 inch by 7.5 and 1 by 7.5 by 1.5 inches. Then you're going to take 3 pieces of cardstock. You're going to cut 2 at 10 by 10 and 1 at 9 by 10. With the 9-inch side, you're going to glue those each side to the 10-inch side. So we're going to join them together. I'm just going to take a little bead of glue down the 9-inch side, and then you will attach the other piece to that and make sure that it's secure. Kind of just make sure you put that on there, and I'm just going to take my little folder thing and really press that in, and then I will repeat for the other side. Once we have our glue, our sides glued down, we're going to take the chipboard and we're going to start gluing that to our paper. I was just making sure it was going to fit. Now that I know that it's going to fit, I'm going to take our first 7.5 by 7.5 piece, and I'm going to put glue all around the back of it. And once I get this glue, I'm going to glue this to the middle. Make sure you stay within those seams. You have seams on each side. You want to be about even on those in between those seams on that black paper. So once that's done, we will then take the little tool I have. It's a 1/4 inch, or you can just eyeball it at 1/4 inch. And I'm going to put that up against that cardstock, that little orange piece there. It's a 1/4 inch. After I make sure that I have that secured to the back. So I want to, before I do that, move to the next step, just really move that paper in there and secure that down. Once I have that secured, then I will take my little orange piece and I'm gonna put that right up against the cardstock, and then I will take the 1 inch by 7.5 inch piece of chipboard, and I'm going to glue that beside on the right side of that, because this will be the part that folds into the book. So this just kind of goes, just glue that all the way in there, put that glue all over. As you can see, I like glue. And I'm going to put that next to it, and now I'm going to take my T ruler, my close to my heart T ruler, and I'm going to put that on the first chipboard so I can make sure that I'm getting this lined up evenly. This close to my heart T ruler is really, really good. I really like it. It's 14 inches long. It's nice and sturdy, and it really helps me get everything straight. It also has magnets, so the top part comes off, and you're able to find, turns into a smaller ruler, and you're able to find the center with that one. I'm going to repeat this process for each of this chipboard. I'm going to put the next 7.5 by 7.5 inch piece beside it, and then I will take my T ruler and to help get it straight. So we're just going to repeat that for all the sides. Here you see me kind of spreading the glue out because I got too much glue on there, so I didn't want to leave any bumps. So I kind of spread it with my finger. And then I'm just going to take my scraper and really get that down in there. And once that's done, I'm going to take, I lost the footage for this, but you're going to take 1-inch tape and tape it all around the sides, all 4 sides, and then trim it. This little thing here will help me make my corner cuts. I'll link it down below. I believe I got it on Etsy. You can also just cut this yourself if you're good at that. I am not. I always mess it up. But if you do choose to cut it, just leave a little, make sure you leave a little where the tip is. You don't want to cut right up against that corner. And then I will repeat this process for all 4 corners. Now we're going to start by taking the VersaMat. We're going to move that because we need to start working these edges. We're going to take the tape off, and then once we take the tape off, I'm going to take my glue and I'm going to place that glue right up on the black paper up against the chipboard. And I'm kind of showing you where with my finger there. So we're going to get that on there, and once we get that on there, we're going to start to work that black paper cardstock so that we can get that to bend. And we want to get that so that it bends nicely. Don't try and do it all at once or you will crack it. Just really work it with your fingers. I take my thumb and I just kind of really smooth along the edge there so that I can get that to be bendable. Kind of break up those fibers and work that all the way up so that it comes up and over the book. Once I get that to where it goes up over the book, I'm going to secure it. I'm going to make sure that that is glued down. I'm also going to, in that seams there, I'm going to press that down in there. And then I'm just going to take my scraper tool and just really make sure that's secure. And I'm going to repeat this process for all 4 sides. I'm going to do the top sides first, and then I do the end sides last. I find it easier to do it that way. You can do it however you choose to do it. This is just how I do it. If you have a little hanging over, you can just take your scissors and carefully snip that off and then just smooth that back down like I'm doing here. Okay, we're going to take 2 pieces of black cardstock, 7.25 by 4.5, and we're going to put these 2 pieces over the spine. I'm going to start by putting my tape directly onto the book. I want to make sure I leave enough room on the top and the bottom that my tape's not going to be sticking over when I put my paper down. And what you see here is I try and put the tape in the middle of the seam first, because I want that tape to touch that back piece of cardstock. And then I'm going to take my bone folder thingy and really work that in there. And then I will come over and really secure that tape on top. And I'm going to do that for both sides. Once I have that tape secured down, I will take my black piece of cardstock and I'm going to put glue on it. But as you can see, I'm just kind of working that in that seam there. And once I get that in the seam, then I make sure to go over it again so that it's on the chipboard really well. And then we're gonna move all that stuff aside and get that glue on there. And once we get that glue on there, I will put that on, and I'm going to take my T-square and I'm going to use my T-square to help me line it up so that I can get it straight on the top and the bottom. When you put this paper on, you want to make sure that you leave about the same amount on the top and the bottom. So I'm going to take the tape off. Now that I got that tape off, I'm going to take over my T-ruler and I'm going to put that up against the book so that I know where to put the edge of my paper, which will help it be straight. And what I'm not really, I don't really care if it's straight in the inside of the book. I'm trying to make sure that the edges are straight, and by doing this I can get the edges straight so that the part that is showing on the book side is straight. And then I'm just going to repeat the process of making sure I get that paper down into my seams and really taking that scraper tool and getting that on there. I'm also going to take another little tool that the bone folder, and just really make sure I work that in there. Be careful when you're working this in there. Don't press too hard. You don't want to tear that paper. And once I'm satisfied with that, I will give it a little bit of a bend to make sure that it bends good. There we go, and that looks good. So now I will repeat the process on the other side. Now I'm just bending the sides and making sure that it's straight. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is start building the waterfall. You're going to take your colored cardstock. You're going to take 5 pieces and you're going to cut that 6 1/4 by 4 1/4, and you're going to score a 1/2 inch on the 4 3/4 inch side. I'm showing you that here. There's where that score line is. Now I'm going to take my T ruler and I'm going to put it on my VersaMat so that I have a straight line to go by, and I turn these upside down so that the score line is on the top, and I'm going to take a scrap piece of black cardstock and I'm going to glue that down, and I'm going to repeat this for each one. This is how, for me, it's how I can get it straight. I have a hard time making sure that these come out straight, so I find if I build it before off the book, I do a better job. So I'm just going to line that second one up, putting it up against the T-square, making sure the score lines are up against each other, and then I will glue that down. And I will repeat that for each one, making sure that I put the cardstock up against my T ruler and butt that score line up against the one above, and then put the glue. And I'm going to repeat that process for the other ones. Okay, once we have that done, we're going to take it and just dry fit it to the album. Make sure that we've got it to where it actually fits. And once we've made sure that that fits, we're going to take and trim off that black piece of cardstock. And then the next step that we will do is we will take our pattern paper and we're going to put that down first before we attach the waterfall. I just find this easier to do that way. I think it just looks nicer that way. So once I have that all done, just making sure again that it's fitting, because that's just how I am. Now I'm going to take a 7 1/4 inch piece by 7 1/4 by 7 1/4 inch piece of pattern paper, and I'm going to glue that down. Once that's glued down, I will make sure to take my scraper and I'm going to go over it just to kind of help spread that glue out a little bit so that there's no bubbling. When I put this down, I want to make sure that I line it up nicely. So I'm going to leave about 1/4 inch around all of the sides. And the glue kind of stays wet for a while, so it helps you so that you can kind of move that around a little bit. And once that's secured down, I will take my my waterfall and I'm going to put glue all across it. I'm going to put it on that black piece, and then on each end of the score piece, I want to make sure I put glue. And don't worry about that black piece showing through, because when we go to decorate it, we will be covering that up. Now I'm going to take my T ruler again so that I can make sure I get this on straight. And I'm going to put it where I want it. Make sure I'm trying to leave about the same amount of space on each side. I'm just eyeballing that. And then I put the T ruler down so that I can make sure that it's straight. And once I have that straight, I will start to secure it. I'm going to take my scraper, well, first my fingers, then my scraper, and I'm going to really secure that down. Make sure that it's good and secure. And then I will repeat that until I'm satisfied with that. Now I'm just checking, making sure that it all works, and it does. And it looks nice. The next step, we will be doing the middle part, and we're going to add the flaps to the middle. And these are 7 3/4 by 7 1/4, and you're going to score a 1/2 inch on the 7 3/4 inch side. And I'm just going to make sure that they fit. I'm going to just kind of showing you here, and then I'm going to dry fit them, make sure that they fit good. Guess I'm not going to. I'm going to glue them. I'm going to take the scored, the 1/2 inch scored side, I'm going to add my glue to that. Once I get the glue on here, that is the part that I will glue to the other piece of paper. You're going to glue two together. You're going to place one on top of the other one. So I'm going to put the score side down on top of the other piece of paper, making sure that the score sides are on the same side. Going to get that glue on there. And now I'm going to line that up on top of the other flap. And I'm just making sure that it's all lined up, because I want that to be even. And now that I've got that, I will take my scraper and just make sure that that's really secure. So I'm going to open it up and just make sure I scrape that score. And I'm going to set that aside and do the other one. Okay, now I'm just going to make sure that they fit. I want to make sure that I leave enough space when I glue these down that it's not interfering with the spine, and that they can open within each other so that they're able to close. So I'm just kind of giving myself an idea of where I'm going to put this, where we're going to put that glue. So I'm going to take the first one, and I'm going to put, I'm going to use tape. I'm going to tape it down. I'm going to put tape along the scored edge. And once I have this taped, I will put it onto the book. Again, make sure that I'm not going to interfere with that spine, with the fold in the spine. And I'm putting the scored side where up against the spine area, leaving probably about 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch from away from that spine. And I'm just going to eyeball it for straightness. I want to try and make sure that I get the same on the top and the bottom. See, I'm making sure I'm away from that fold. And then I'm going to press that down and pull the tape off. Once I get that tape on there, I will repeat the process for the other side. With the other side, I want to make sure that I'm leaving enough room so that not only am I not interfering with the spine, but the side on the left can still close. So I need to make sure that that paper leaves enough space from the spine and from where it closes. And I'll show you that in just a second. Yeah, see, there we go. So we're going to continue that, glue that or tape that down, and we'll be back. now that I have that on there, I'm just going to make sure that it works. And the way I do this is I'm going to fold the right side, then the left side, then the right side, then the left side, so that it kind of opens up and closes onto each other. Then we're going to start with the cover side of the album, and I'm going to make a 2 pockets here. But I'm going to start first by laying down my piece of paper, my pattern paper, and I've cut that at 7 1/4 by 4 1/4. And I'm going to put that on the top. I don't need to cover the whole thing because it's not going to show. The pockets are going to be covering it. So we don't need to waste paper by covering the whole, by covering it all, unless you want to. I prefer not to waste the paper. Okay, so once I get that on there, I'm going to make sure that I have, trying to leave about a 1/4 inch around the sides, trying to get it straight. I'm just eyeballing this, and then I will secure it down. And now I'm just going to press that down, make sure it's good and tight. And next I will take my pockets. I'm going to take the black cardstock, and you're going to cut this at 8 1/4 by 4 and score it a 1/2 inch on 3 sides. This is for the bottom pocket. The top pocket, we're not going to score the bottom because we're going to leave that open so that we can put a nice big tag in there. And I'm just making sure that it fits. And it does. And the top pocket, you want to make sure that you cut that at 8 1/8 by 3 1/2 and score a 1/2 inch on the 8 1/8 inch side, just on those 2 sides. And now to make sure that I get it even, I'm just going to take my ruler and I'm going to make a mark where I want that to go. And I believe I went 2 inches down or 1 1/2 inches down. And I'm just making a mark with my pencil. And you could make this as big as you want or as small as you want. And then I'm going to take the top pocket and I'm going to glue that on there first. I'm just going to put the glue on the scored piece. And I'm going to line that up with my marks so that I get it even. And then I'll just push that over and secure it down. And now I'll put the glue on all 3 sides and attach it to my base. I'm just making sure it's even. And now that I know that it is, I'm going to attach it to my base. Okay, now that I've got that on, I'm just going to make sure everything still bends. I'm kind of looking at it, making sure that, kind of seeing how it looks. I think it looks really good. Oops, that one goes on the bottom. There we go. Now the next thing we're going to do is the cover on the right side. That's the inside cover. We're going to start by cutting one piece of black cardstock 6 1/4 by 7 and score on the 1/2 inch side. You see I did that upside down. You're going to make sure you attach that to the right side of the album. And then on the other side, you're going to cut that paper 6 1/4 by 7 and score on the 7 inch side. And then I'm going to glue that down. I'm going to leave enough space that I leave a little bit of a gap so that when the book is closed, you can't see it, and try and get that on there even and straight around the edges. So you can see I'm gluing that down now. I'm just kind of fussing with it, making sure I get it straight. And when I'm happy with it, I will press it down. And then I'm going to secure it with my scraper again so that I can spread that glue out. Now to do this side, what I'm going to do is I'm going to eyeball it and just make a mark with my pencil where I want that to go, where I glued the score side down. So I'm going to get that where I want it. And once I've done that, I'm going to take the pencil, make my little marks, and then I will glue that to the other side. Okay, we've got our book complete now. Stay tuned for part 2. I will have that coming probably in a day or two. Please like and subscribe. And if you subscribe, please make sure you press that bell. That way you'll know when I post the second one of this. And now I'm just kind of showing you, giving you an overall view of the book. I hope you guys have liked this. Have a great day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.